Hi, I'm Sarah Crockford, and I am about rewards. And what I mean by that is that the focus of all the training that I do and all the behaviour work that I do is encouraging wanted behaviours by finding rewards that an animal will work for. Now for dogs, that's usually food, but can be play as well. But there's also life rewards like walking and sniffing and social time and running free. But food is usually the place to start because most dogs enjoy eating food. So what we want to be able to do is teach them what we want them to be able to do. Things that we assume would come naturally to them if they liked our company, like walking nicely on a lead or coming back when we call them. But of course, dogs would much rather do things at their own pace and in their own time. Why would they want to come back to us when there's much more exciting things to find out and about? So we use food and we use praise and we use toys to be able to encourage our dogs to do the right thing. The more we focus on rewards and unwanted behaviour, the less we focus on unwanted behaviour and the things that annoy us, which means we're a lot less likely to use punishment in training, or at least to have that as the focus. When you get stuck thinking, I want to stop my dog from, usually that allows us to think that, okay, we could use a bit of punishment now. That's all right, isn't it? All we want to do is to stop a dog. Sometimes people worry that rewards are actually rewarding bad behaviour. But it's all about timing and the presentation of those rewards. If a dog is barking and you reward them for being quiet, then you were rewarding them for being quiet. Sometimes a dog might learn that if they bark, then they're asked to be quiet, then they'll get a treat. Well, that's a lot better than the previous situation when they wouldn't shut up at all. You can now put it on cue and then just don't give the cue in the future. But it does mean that you can praise the dog for being quiet. And the same with walking. If we're walking, you can use a treat to teach a dog not to pull. Okay, so what happens if they start pulling and then look for a treat? Well, you won't really have taught the pulling, but it might need to change the timing of the presentation of those rewards. So maybe you have to walk a little bit further or expect a bit more for the reward that you're giving, so that they learn that it's about walking nicely or slowly or at your pace or with no tension on the lead or walking past distractions or whatever it is you're expecting them to do, and then you reward them at the right moments. If you find yourself thinking, I have to stop my dog, it's usually a lot about management or about managing expectations. Because even with the best training in the world, the training has got to catch up with real life. So there's always going to be a gap between what you've trained, what you've expected your dog to have understood, and what's actually going to happen. So if you've trained your dog to come back to you when there's not much going on, that's great. They've learned how to come back when there's not much going on. But if there's suddenly 3 dogs playing ball in the field, that's going to be a bit harder. Not because they're dissing you or because they don't know how to do it. Well, actually it is because they don't know how to do it. They know how to come back to you, but they don't know how to come back away from play, particularly if it's 3 dogs playing ball. So it's a learning process. And if you think you're going to take them somewhere where they can't possibly achieve, they can't possibly have success, then you're setting them up to fail. Which is why it's good to have management strategies like long lines or not taking them to particular places at particular times. To do so means that you would end up thinking that your way has to happen and that you have to use punishment. But you don't. If you set the training up well enough, if you're using your rewards well enough, then the training gradually catches up with real life, and then you have a dog who is a pleasure to be around, enjoys their training, and actually enjoys coming back or walking nicely on the lead because they've been rewarded for doing so. Even if part of that journey has been a bit of frustration for them because they haven't been able to do the things that they want to do. Because here's the thing about reward-based training. Reward-based training involves having to control the rewards that our dogs are finding rewarding. So if they're enjoying jumping up, we have to control those rewards or access to those rewards as much as we are giving food and praise and toys for doing the right thing. That control isn't mean. It doesn't have to be mean. Some people can make it mean, but it doesn't have to be mean. So if a dog is jumping up, you want them to not experience the rewards. So you might have them on a lead or just hold their collar so that they can't enjoy jumping up. But the control doesn't mean you have to tell them off or yank their lead or push into them or knock them away. You don't have to do that. It can be a very subtle thing. And the focus is always on rewarding the right behaviours, the wanted behaviours, the ones that you want to see more of, not the ones that necessarily your dog would choose, which is why training is a long and complex process, because you're fighting maybe what your dog really wants to do. And here's the next thing. Even if the training is perfect, you've got the excellent technique, you've got the best rewards, sometimes dogs still don't do the things that we want them to do. And often there's something else going on. It might be there's a medical problem. It might be they're in pain. It might be that there's hidden trauma from their past. It might be that there's needs that are not met. It might be that they're on inappropriate food, or they've got an intolerance that you didn't even know about, but it's causing them to act in a certain way. Or maybe something's happened and you hadn't realised that they'd not learnt what you wanted them to learn in a particular situation. Or maybe your moods are affecting your dog, or maybe the weather is affecting your dog. There are so many things that can affect what's going on. Why should we have to tell our dogs off and be cross with them when there's likely something else going on? You don't want dangerous behaviour to happen. You don't want to allow your dog to do things and to practice things that are not wanted. But you can do that in a very gentle and clever way. And all the time, focus on rewards, on rewarding the thing they can be doing right. And don't forget to keep rewarding them for it. That doesn't mean you have to give the same number of treats or the same type of treats. You want to reward in different ways, but you certainly keep up the praise. You certainly want to be saying, "Good dog, you're doing great. This is fabulous." Because the more you do that, the more it means to your dog, the more they'll want to work for you and do the things that you're asking them to do. And then you won't have to be cross with them. Please find me on YouTube and on Facebook. And please hit like or subscribe. Good luck with your training journey.